Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk Lora, your friendly English podcast for real conversations and practical English you can use every single day. I'm Laura.
And I'm Alex. Wherever you're watching from, we're so glad you're joining us for another English lesson today.
This is the place where we learn English together in a comfortable, relaxed way. No stress, just real English you can actually use.
So Laura, before we start today's topic, how has your week been? Anything interesting happen?
Oh, it's been good. Yesterday, I finally finished that book I was reading. You know, the one I told you about last time?
Oh yes, you said you would finish it by this week, and you actually did.
I did. And actually, Alex, you just used a really important English word. Did you notice?
Let me think. Oh, you mean would.
Exactly. Today, we're talking about the word would. It's a small word, just 5 letters, but it's incredibly useful in English.
And I know from experience that would confuses many English learners. They hear it all the time, but they're not sure exactly how to use it themselves.
That's so true. So today, we're going to make would feel simple and natural. No complicated grammar explanations, just real examples you can use right away.
And if you're enjoying this lesson, please hit that like button and subscribe to Talk Lora so we can keep learning together.
All right, let's dive in. Ready, Alex?
Ready? Let's learn about would.
Okay, before we talk about specific rules or patterns, let's just feel the word would for a moment.
Feel it? What do you mean?
Well, every word in English has a certain feeling or tone, and would has a very special feeling.
Can you describe it?
Sure, would feels softer than most verbs. It sounds more polite, more gentle, and often less certain.
Oh, I think I understand. It's like not being too direct?
Exactly. Let me show you. Listen to these 2 sentences. First, I will help you.
That sounds very clear and definite. You've made a decision.
Right. Now listen to this. I would help you.
That feels different. It's softer somehow. Like, maybe there's something else you need to say?
Yes, that's the key difference. Would often means there's a condition or an if hiding in the sentence.
So, I would help you might mean, I would help you if I could, or I would help you if you asked.
Exactly. You're getting it already. Would leaves room for imagination, conditions, and possibilities.
So, it's not as strong or certain as will.
Right. Will is for real plans and definite futures. Would is for imaginary situations, polite requests, and softer expressions. Don't worry about memorizing rules yet. Just remember this feeling. Would is gentle, polite, and often lives in your imagination rather than in reality.
I like that. Once you feel it, it becomes easier to use naturally.
Exactly. Now let's look at the most common ways people use would in real life.
Okay, Laura, so what's the first way people use would?
The most common way is for polite requests. This is when you want to ask someone for something in a very friendly, gentle way.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine you're at a friend's house and you're feeling thirsty. You could say, "Can you give me some water?"
That's okay, but it sounds a bit direct, right?
Yes. Now listen to this. Would you give me some water, please?
Oh, that sounds much more polite and gentle.
Exactly. Would makes the request softer. It gives the other person space to say yes or no comfortably.
So instead of, can you help me? I can say, would you help me?
Perfect. And here are some more examples. Would you mind closing the door? Would you please send me that file?
Would you pass me the salt? Would you wait for me?
Excellent. Those all sound natural and polite.
What about when you want to offer something to someone?
Great question. Would is perfect for offers too. Listen, would you like some coffee?
Oh, yes, I hear that all the time. It's much better than just, do you want coffee?
Exactly. Would you like is warmer and more welcoming. You can also say, would you like to join us? Or, would you like some help?
So, would makes me sound more friendly and polite in daily conversations?
Yes. And here's a bonus tip. Would like is very similar to want, but it's much more polite.
So, instead of, I want a sandwich, I can say, I would like a sandwich?
Perfect. And in spoken English, we usually say, I'd like. That's the short form.
I'd like a sandwich. That does sound more polite.
See? Just this one pattern will make your English sound so much more natural. All right, Alex. Now, let's talk about one of the most fun uses of would: imaginary situations.
Ooh, like dreams and wishes?
Exactly. This is when we talk about things that aren't real right now, but we imagine them in our minds.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine you're really busy every day with work. You might say, if I had more free time, I would learn to play the piano.
Oh, I see. You don't actually have free time right now, so this is just imagination.
Exactly. The situation isn't real, but you're imagining what you would do if it were real.
Let me try. If I won the lottery, I would buy a big house.
Perfect. See how natural that sounds?
But I should mention, I haven't actually won the lottery.
Of course. That's why we use would. It shows the situation is hypothetical, not real.
What are some other examples?
Well, think about wishes and dreams. I would love to visit Japan. It would be wonderful to work from home. I would enjoy living near the beach.
Those all sound so dreamy and hopeful.
Yes, that's why would is perfect for these expressions. You're sharing your dreams and wishes.
So, when I use would like this, I'm inviting people into my imagination?
Exactly. That's a beautiful way to put it. And that's why would feels emotional and gentle.
I love using English this way. It's not just grammar, it's about expressing feelings and dreams.
That's the spirit. English is communication, not just rules.
Okay, Laura, we've talked about imaginary situations. What's another way to use would?
Good question. Would can also be used to talk about the past, specifically about what you expected or believed would happen in the past.
Hmm, that sounds complicated. Can you explain?
Don't worry, it's actually quite simple. Imagine your friend promised to call you yesterday. You can say, he said he would call me.
Oh, so you're remembering what he said in the past.
Exactly. In the past, he made a promise about the future. And would helps you express that.
Let me try another one. I thought it would rain today.
Perfect. In the past, you had an expectation about today.
She told me the test would be easy.
Great. Now, here's an interesting thing. Sometimes these expectations were wrong.
What do you mean?
Well, you can say, I thought it would be easy, but it wasn't. Or, I didn't know it would take so long.
Oh, yes. I've said sentences like that before.
These sentences show surprise or disappointment. You expected one thing, but reality was different.
So, would helps me talk about past expectations, whether they were right or wrong.
Exactly. I knew it would be difficult, I didn't think it would work. She promised she would be here.
This is really useful for storytelling and explaining past situations.
Yes, it makes your English sound natural and complete. Now, Alex, let's talk about one of my favorite uses of would for past habits and memories.
Past habits? Can you explain?
Sure, when you want to talk about things you did regularly in the past, especially childhood memories, you can use would.
Give me an example.
When I was young, I would visit my grandmother every weekend.
Oh, that sounds so sweet. I can almost see you as a little girl visiting your grandmother.
That's the magic of would. It brings the memory to life. It's different from just saying, I visited my grandmother.
How is it different?
Well, I visited is just a fact, but I would visit carries emotion and shows it was a repeated, special habit.
So it's better for storytelling.
Exactly. Listen to this. My father would tell us bedtime stories every night.
Wow, that's beautiful. I can imagine sitting there listening to the stories.
See? Would makes the listener feel the memory with you. It's very powerful for sharing experiences.
Let me try. In school, my friends and I would play soccer during lunch break.
Perfect. I can picture you running around with your friends.
Those were good times.
And that feeling, that nostalgia, that's what would brings to your stories.
So I can use it for any repeated past action?
Yes, we would have family dinners on Sundays. I would walk to school every day. My teacher would always encourage us.
This makes English so much more expressive and emotional.
That's exactly right. Would isn't just grammar, it's about sharing feelings and memories.
Laura, I often hear expressions like, I would rather or I would love. Can we talk about those?
Absolutely. These are some of the most useful expressions with would in everyday English.
Let's start with would love. How do we use it?
Would love shows strong interest or excitement. For example, I would love to meet your family.
Oh, that sounds really enthusiastic and warm.
Exactly. You can also say, I'd love to. That's the short form. I'd love to try that restaurant. I'd love to learn more about your culture.
So it's more enthusiastic than just, I want to.
Yes, I want to is neutral, but I would love to shows real excitement and positivity.
What about would rather?
Would rather is for preferences, especially when choosing between options. I would rather stay home tonight.
So it's like saying, I prefer?
Exactly, but softer, and we often use it with than. I would rather have tea than coffee.
I'd rather watch a movie than go out.
Perfect. And there's a fun game people play online called Would You Rather?
Oh, what's that?
You ask someone to choose between two options. Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
Oh, that's tough. I think I'd rather fly.
See? It's a fun way to practice would.
What about would prefer?
Would prefer is similar to would rather, but slightly more formal. I would prefer to meet in the morning.
So all three, would love, would rather, and would prefer, are about likes and preferences.
Exactly. And they all sound polite, natural, and friendly.
I'd love to join you. I'd rather not talk about it. I'd prefer the blue one.
Perfect. You're sounding like a native speaker already. Alex, there's another really useful way to use would for expressing opinions softly.
Opinions. How does that work?
Well, sometimes you want to share your thoughts, but you don't want to sound too strong or pushy.
Oh yes, I understand. Being too direct can sometimes feel rude.
Exactly. So we can use would to soften our opinions. For example, I would say that's a good idea.
Instead of just, that's a good idea?
Right. I would say makes it sound like your personal opinion, not a fact.
That's more polite and humble.
Yes. Here are more examples. I would think it's too expensive. I would imagine she's quite busy.
I would guess he's about 30 years old.
Perfect. You can also use it negatively. I wouldn't say it's the best option.
So that means I think there might be better options?
Exactly. It's a gentle way to disagree or offer a different perspective.
This is so useful for discussions and conversations.
Absolutely, especially in professional settings or when talking to people you don't know well.
I would suggest meeting on Tuesday instead.
Great example. That's polite and professional.
So, would helps me express opinions without seeming arrogant or too certain.
Exactly. It shows you're open to other ideas and being respectful.
Laura, I think it's important to talk about mistakes. What do learners often get wrong with would?
Good question. Let's go through the most common mistakes.
What's the first one?
The biggest mistake is using would for things that are certain or definite. For example, saying, I would go to work tomorrow.
What's wrong with that?
Well, if you're sure about your plan, you should say, I will go to work tomorrow. Would makes it sound uncertain or imaginary.
Oh, so would is for uncertain, imaginary, or polite situations?
Exactly. If it's a real, definite plan, use will.
What's another mistake?
Forgetting the condition. If you say, I would travel more, it sounds incomplete.
Because I'm thinking, travel more. When? Why?
Right. You need to add the condition. I would travel more if I had more money.
That makes it complete.
Another common mistake is using would for the simple past. Like, yesterday I would go to the store.
What's wrong with that?
For a single past action, you should say, yesterday I went to the store. Would is for repeated past habits, not single actions.
Oh, so when I was young, I would go to that store is correct because it was repeated?
Exactly. You've got it.
What about pronunciation? Do people make mistakes there?
Yes. Remember that in spoken English, we usually contract I would to I'd or he would to he'd.
So, I'd like some coffee instead of I would like some coffee?
Perfect. The full form sounds too formal in casual conversation.
These tips really help avoid confusion.
Yes. And remember, making mistakes is part of learning. Don't be afraid to try. All right, Alex, let's practice some common would expressions together.
Great idea! This will help everyone remember them better.
First expression, I would like. Can you use it in a sentence?
I would like to order a pizza, please.
Perfect. Now let's try would love.
I would love to visit Paris someday.
Excellent. Now, would rather.
I would rather stay home and read a book tonight.
Great. How about would prefer?
I would prefer to meet in the afternoon if possible.
Nice. Now try would you mind?
Would you mind helping me with this heavy box?
Perfect. Now let's practice imaginary situations. Use if I had, I would.
If I had $1 million, I would buy a beautiful house by the sea.
That sounds wonderful. Now use would for a past habit.
When I was a student, I would study in the library every evening.
Beautiful. Now express an opinion using would.
I would say this is one of the best restaurants in town.
Excellent. Finally, use would for a polite request.
Would you please explain that one more time?
Perfect. See how naturally these expressions flow?
Yes, practicing them like this really helps.
Everyone watching, try creating your own sentences with these patterns. Say them out loud.
Practice makes perfect. Laura, can we practice would in some real-life situations?
Absolutely. Let's imagine different scenarios.
Okay, first scenario. I'm at a restaurant. How do I use would?
Good evening. What would you like to order?
I would like the grilled salmon, please. And I'd like a glass of water.
Would you like any dessert?
I would love to see the dessert menu, thank you.
Perfect. That's very natural. Next scenario, making plans with a friend.
Hey, would you like to go to the movies this weekend?
I'd love to. What time would work for you?
I was thinking Saturday afternoon. Would that be okay?
Actually, I'd rather go on Sunday, if that's possible.
See how would makes everything sound friendly and polite?
Exactly. One more scenario, giving advice at work.
I would suggest we review the proposal one more time before the meeting.
That's a good idea. Would you be able to make those changes by tomorrow?
Yes, I would be happy to do that.
These scenarios show how would appears in everyday conversations.
Everyone, try imagining yourself in these situations and practice using would.
All right, Alex, we've covered so much today. Let's do a quick summary.
Yes, let's review everything about would.
First, we learned that would makes sentences softer, more polite, and less certain.
Right, it's gentler than will and often involves imagination or conditions.
We use would for polite requests. Would you help me? Would you mind closing the door?
And for offers. Would you like some coffee?
We use would for imaginary situations. If I had more time, I would learn to paint.
For dreams and wishes, I would love to travel the world.
Would helps us talk about past expectations. He said he would call me.
And past habits. I would visit my grandparents every summer.
We learned expressions like would rather, would prefer, and would love.
And how to use would to express opinions softly. I would say that's a good idea.
We also talked about common mistakes, like using would for definite plans or forgetting conditions.
The key is to feel would, not just memorize rules.
Exactly. Would is about being polite, gentle, imaginative, and expressive.
And the more you use it, the more natural it becomes.
Well, friends, we've reached the end of today's lesson about would.
Remember, you don't need to master everything today. Just start using would little by little.
Try one or two expressions this week. Say them out loud. Practice with friends.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we learn.
Now, here's a question for you. If you could learn any skill, what would you learn?
Write your answer in the comments. Use would in your sentence.
We love reading your comments and seeing you practice.
And if you enjoyed this lesson, please like this video and share it with your friends.
Don't forget to subscribe to Talk Lora for more English lessons like this one. Thank you so much for learning with us today. We really appreciate you.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember, English is easier when you learn it the natural way.
See you in the next lesson, friends.
Take care and keep learning.
Goodbye.